Well, folks, he's back. The man, the leader, the legend Donald Trump has returned to the political stage. He is set to return to the White House and has promised to solve the issues surrounding immigration, the economy, and the war in Ukraine. Donald Trump has won a landsliding victory, winning across all the swing states. So Trump will become the 47th president of the United States of America, stirring up anticipations about the global order. Once again, he is looming large over American politics, and his supporters couldn't be more thrilled. And you know what that means. It means the political landscape is about to change significantly. That's right, the rest of the world gets to watch with a mixture of amusement as America potentially drives itself off another cliff. The stakes are high, and everyone is on edge. It's important to know that not only has Trump won 296 electoral votes, but he also has the Senate and the House, which gives the Republicans the full potential to execute matters. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why should we care about this over here in Europe? We're an ocean away, after all. We've got our own problems. Brexit, economic woes, inflation, and political drama of our own. And you'd be right, you do. But here's the kicker. When America sneezes, the rest of the world tends to catch a cold. The ripple effects of US politics are felt far and wide. And with Trump back in the White House, well, let's just say Europe might be facing situations where several tough choices need to be made. Moreover, the global impact could be significant. His victory is making headlines everywhere, leaving many wondering what a second Trump presidency would mean for international relations, trade, and most importantly, the future of global economy. From immigration to the Ukraine war, Trump has briefed 7 policies, which he says he will do as president. But how will all these new policies impact Europe and the UK? Come, let's find out in this video. So buckle up because things are about to get interesting. Before we start, if you're new here, consider subscribing to our channel to stay updated with all the latest developments. Also, leave your thoughts in the comments below. Let's start with the economy, shall we? It's a complex web of interdependencies, and any disruption can send shockwaves across the globe. Because nothing says stable global leader like slapping tariffs on everything that moves. Depending on who you talk, tariffs can be a good or bad thing. They act like a double-edged sword, cutting both ways. In fact, it was Trump who started trade wars with China in order to protect American businesses. Such tariffs could be making a comeback. The impact of such policies can be far-reaching and long-lasting. See, Trump's a big believer in America first and has pledged to make America great again. He loves tariffs. To him, tariffs are a tool to assert dominance and protect American interests. He has proposed new tariffs of at least 10% on most foreign goods to cut the trade deficit. In addition, imports from China could bear an additional 60% tariff. Some economists have warned that such moves could push up prices for consumers. This could be bad news for the UK and Europe, who rely heavily on trade with the US. Their economies are deeply intertwined with American markets. This will have adverse effects on businesses who will find it hard to cope with increased costs. The impact on everyday life could be significant. If Trump starts slapping tariffs on European goods, you can bet your bottom dollar that the EU will respond in kind. This could escalate tensions further. The global economy is fragile, and such conflicts can push it to the brink. Next up, let's talk about defense, specifically NATO. Trump's never been a huge fan of the whole collective defense thing. According to Magnus Christensen, a war scientist at the Norwegian Defense Academy, a compromise with Russia and a dissolution of NATO is possible in Donald Trump's second term as president. This is, of course, speculation because during his first term, he repeatedly bashed NATO allies for not spending enough on defense and even threatened to pull the US out of the alliance altogether. Now, I'm no military strategist, but weakening the very organization that's been keeping the peace in Europe for decades doesn't exactly scream safety in the region. If Trump gets his way and weakens NATO, it could embolden Russia and other adversaries, making Europe a much more dangerous place. This can be bad news for Europe, and it's high time European countries start improving defense and security. Speaking of Russia, let's talk about the Ukraine war. Trump has criticized the tens of billions of dollars spent by the US and the West on supporting Ukraine in its war with Russia. He has also pledged to end the conflict within 24 hours in office through a negotiated deal. In addition to this, Trump has positioned himself as a staunch supporter of Israel but has urged the American ally to end its operation. In general, US wants to disentangle itself from foreign conflicts. And let's not forget about economic sanctions. These sanctions are crucial in maintaining pressure on Russia. Trump's been pretty eager to lift sanctions on Russia, even though they haven't exactly stopped meddling in other countries' affairs. This eagerness has been met with criticism from both sides of the political spectrum. All of this adds up to a big fat headache for Europe, which is caught between a Russia that's flexing its muscles and an America that might not have its back. European leaders are left to navigate this complex geopolitical landscape, trying to balance their own security concerns with the unpredictable nature of US foreign policy under Trump. Next up, let's talk about immigration and the border crisis. Trump's stance on immigration is, shall we say, well documented. Trump has promised the biggest mass deportations of undocumented migrants in US history. He wants to ban Muslims from entering the country and generally make life difficult for illegal immigrants. Now, you might be thinking, John, this is an American issue. What's it got to do with us? And you'd be right to a point. But the thing is, all these undocumented migrants can easily end up in Europe, making illegal immigration a huge problem in the region. Many European countries like Germany and Denmark have already started border checks, which brings logistical challenges. Moreover, Trump's rhetoric toward immigration policies can have a ripple effect. Potentially, this could even make it more difficult for people to move freely between the UK, Europe and the US, Australia and Canada, which could bring a new set of challenges for business, tourism and cultural exchange. Now let's talk about something near and dear to Europeans, that is, the environment. During Trump's first term in the White House, he rolled back environmental regulations, pulling the US out of the Paris Climate Agreement. But American politicians have to realize that private sector clean energy investment is bringing jobs and economic opportunity to local towns across the country. According to experts, Trump will not be able to stop clean energy transitions such as wind, solar and geothermal power. Moreover, oil and gas production is influenced by global demand and supply. For example, sanctions on Russia due to the conflict in Ukraine boosted demand for oil and gas in Europe. From trade wars to NATO tensions to climate change denial, a second Trump presidency would have far-reaching consequences for the world. The UK and Europe would face some tough choices about how to deal with a more inward-looking and unpredictable America. But let's be honest, nobody really is enjoying the existing conditions of war, inflation, and a weak economy. What everyone expects from a President Trump 2.0 is merely a world where war is a thing of the past, jobs with good pay, and a world where families feel safe to raise their children. Because if Trump returns to the White House, all these issues is what he will address first. So there you have it, a whirlwind tour of all the ways Trump's policies could shake up the UK, Europe, and the broader region. What are your thoughts about Trump and how it will impact Europe and the UK? Share your views and insights in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, take care.